But it's true, because we don't come with a handbook. And there's lots of things that we actually don't know, isn't there? And that's why we go and learn, we copy those who have gone before us, we read books, we listen to podcasts and audiobooks, we watch videos, we consume as much as we can because we want to know what to do, how to do it, and how to get there. Welcome to the Tiffany Micah podcast. What we do here is build the strength and courage in you to accomplish your big dreams and goals in your sport. No longer will you feel limited. You won't feel you're not good enough. You won't question whether you will make it. Those doubts will disappear because you will have the competitive edge over your opponents and leave them in your wake. And the bonus is others will notice. Listen up and take notes because I will show you exactly how to do it. Hey there, this is Tiff. Welcome to the Tiffany Micah podcast. It's so great to have you here. Well, I thought this title may grab your attention. We don't come with a handbook. But it's true, because we don't come with a handbook. And there's lots of things that we actually don't know, isn't there? And that's why we go and learn, we copy those who have gone before us, we read books, we listen to podcasts and audiobooks, we watch videos, we consume as much as we can because we want to know what to do, how to do it, and how to get there. And that's a reason why I wrote my book Focus, to give you a guide, what to do, how to do it, and how to get there. My book's called Focus, How to Reach Your Potential in Sport, Business and Life. If you haven't got a copy of that, make sure you do get a copy. You can actually get a copy direct from me, tiffanymicah.com/focus. But the thing is, and the message and the point that I want to get across to you and what we're going to be talking about today is that everything that we go through in pursuit of the sport that we want to turn professional in, or the injury that's occurred and stops us from practicing and competing, or the business we want to build. And believe me, you are a business. Even if you don't think you are right now, you're a business. Because one day you're going to be paid to play, one day you're going to get sponsorships and endorsements. So you're a business, and that's how you should be thinking of yourself. But I want you to understand this, and I want you to understand that everything that we go through will be a process. So if you are in the pursuit of becoming a professional in your sport, there's going to be a process that you're going to have to go through to become a pro. So if you have an injury that has put you on the bench and it's actually stopping you from competing, there is a process that you'll have to go through to heal your body, recover and rebuild, isn't there? So if you want to turn you into a brand or a business, again, there's going to be a process that you'll have to go through to build a business. And there's so much information out there telling you what to do, how to do it, how to get there. But they don't actually tell you how long it's going to take. That was the thing. No one tells you how long it's going to take. Everyone can tell you how to get there, but they don't tell you how long it's going to take. And no one prepares you for that. Because what you do, and this is what we do about goals, and I'm a big firm believer of setting goals, but there's a strategy around really good goal setting and not. But in general, you set your goal, You set the deadline or the time frame that you want to accomplish it in. And then if you haven't done it by then, what happens? You think you're a loser. You think you're a joke. You think you're not good enough. You say to yourself, told you couldn't do it. Right? And all you do is you just beat yourself up. And I get it. Because I've been there too. I was in that situation too. For the mental beat-ups, like looking back, not now, but in the past, for the mental beat-ups, I reckon, like I really believe that I would have been probably a world-class champion at the mental beat-ups when I was pursuing my tennis career. If they were giving out like, you know, world champion trophies for mental beat-ups, I would have definitely won quite a few. Because I had that goal. I had that goal of becoming the professional tennis player and actually wanting to be number one in the world. I had that goal. But you know what? And if you haven't heard my story before, and you may have heard my story before, but because in my head, because I hadn't made it by the time I was 20, right? My deadline, my time frame, I thought I'd never get there. I thought I would never make it. And I was only 20 years of age. 20 years of age. Right? Too young. Too young. You're still learning. You're still developing. You're still growing. So if you're at 20 listening to me right now, do not give up on your sports dream. Okay? Because this is the whole idea. We've got a process that we're going to work through, which we're going to talk about. Okay? So I had that mental talk though at 20 because I didn't accomplish what I thought I should have accomplished at 20. So what was the mental talk? I'm a loser. I'm hopeless. I'm having myself on. I'm a joke. I'm not good enough. See, Tiff, told you couldn't do it. Big mental beat up, right? Constant mental beat up. But I didn't know that there was a process that I was going to have to go through to get there. I didn't know that there were areas in my tennis game that were holding me back. I didn't know that there were areas in my mental game that was holding me back. And there was plenty of those. I didn't know that I could get myself to a certain level and then I would encounter brick walls and plateaus. And then I'd have to learn how to work through them. I didn't know that I could break everything down into phases and take it one process at a time, step by step. And if I didn't make it by the deadline, all I had to do was keep going. You see that? I didn't know any of that. If I only knew then what I now know, I'd have no doubt that I'd be actually the best tennis player in the world. I'm 100% confident in that. But I can wish and I can hope and I can rewind back the clock and I can do that all again. But reality is I can't. In my head I could do it all again, right? But reality is that I can't. You know, I'm 29 years older than I was when I was 20 now. But the thing is what I look at is I can do it in other ways. I can do it in my business to help you. I can do it in the sports that I love to pursue now. Right? I can still be the best that I want to be in the sports that I play now. Nothing can stop me. But this is not about what I can do now, because I know where I'm headed and I know what the process is and what I have to go through. But this is about you. I'm just giving you some examples that when I was 20, I didn't have a clue. I reckon I was walking around like in a dreamland, right? Just on another planet, not aware. And that was a big thing, just not aware. And why I share these episodes with you, why I wrote Focus, How to Reach Your Potential in Sport, Business and Life, the book. Why I am doing all of this, because, you know, why I'm launching the Get Focused program. It's coming out next week. Why I'm talking to you about the Successful Athlete Masterclass that you can sign up for free for. Because it's all designed to help you. Because I've been there. I've been there where you are. I know how hard it is. It's tough, right? It's tough mentally. The physicality side of things you can handle. And you can keep grinding it out and you can keep training. Yep, that's great. But the thing that's going to hold you back is what's going on in your head. I get that because that's what held me back. Doesn't now, but it did then. So what we want to talk about here is we want to talk about how you can pursue your dream, right? Your ultimate sports dream. Because I want you to understand this. There will be a process that you are going to have to go through. That process, we're going to talk about that. We're going to actually develop a process for you, okay? So rather than be thinking about that you've got to accomplish everything by a specific time frame, and I will talk to you about that a little bit later after we go through the phases, but just don't think of that as a time frame right now. I want you to be thinking we're going to work in phases. I actually talk about this in my book too, Focus, How to Reach Your Potential in Sport, Business and Life. I talk about how to work out phases and so on. But we're going to do this in a real simple form, okay, right now. So let's look at the phases, all right? So phase one, we're going to go through phase one first because phase one is where we are now. Phase 5 is really exciting, is when you're a pro athlete, you're running yourself as a business and all of that kind of thing. So we'll get to that, okay? So let's look at phase 1, where you are right now. So what we want to look at is we want to look at the current level that you're actually competing at. So if you haven't yet already signed up for the free Successful Athlete Masterclass, make sure you go and do that. So that's at tiffanymica.com/Sam, S-A-M. That's part of the process, okay? Because what we do in the Successful Athlete Masterclass is we look at what's holding you back. We look at the inventory of where your current level of playing and competing is, what your current level of your game, your skills, your mindset, everything, right? We look at that. And then we plan out what you've got to be focused on, especially short term, for the next 3 months especially, right? So we've got to get that in place. So we've got to understand where we are. Phase 1. Right, that's phase 1. How simple is that? So then we move from phase 1, we then move into phase 2. And phase 2, I want you to be looking at that as a development phase. So what is a development phase and what am I actually talking about here? Well, what I'm actually talking about here is we're going to be working on all your skills in your sport. We're going to work on all your mental skills because all of this is what you've identified in the inventory when we got a gauge of where you currently are at and what you need to actually be doing to move forward, right? We've done the groundwork. Phase 1. So phase 2, development phase, work on all the skills, in your sport, mental skills, your nutrition, your flexibility, your agility, your strength, your endurance, everything that you need to have as part of your sport. This is what you're going to be developing. And you may be in a school team, you may be in a college team, you may be, I'm not sure what level that you're at. You know, you may be just beginning, it doesn't matter. But in this phase, I want you to understand that it's about becoming the athlete that you want to become, right? The ultimate athlete that you want to become. And you want to be developing all areas of your game. So it's not just practice. It's everything. It's technique, mental skills, nutrition, flexibility, agility, strength, endurance, time out, recovery time. There's so much in there. There's so much in there. So you got to do the work on that, right? Do not neglect that area because that area is essential that you do that because that phase 2, that development phase is going to then lead you to phase 3. Phase 3, we can call this the competition phase or the tryouts phase, right? So you might be wanting to try out for a team. You might be wanting to, you might be competing at a specific level and you want to move to the next level. So this phase is focused on you trying out for those next level teams, that next level competition, competing in those tournaments at that next level. So there'll still be development in this phase. There'll still be learning in this phase. Every phase, there'll always be development and learning, okay? Always. But this is where the magic is going to happen for you. And what I mean by that is this is where you're going to be doing all of your learning in this phase. Right, we've been working on the development, but you're going to do so much learning in this phase, in phase 3, because you're going to be learning how to compete at the level that you're striving for. You're going to be learning how to manage and cope with pressure. You're going to be learning how to get that competitive edge. You're going to be learning how to become that world-class athlete or that world-class player that you are destined to become. Notice I said destined to become. You're learning how to deal with frustrations and setbacks. You're learning how to deal with losing and winning. You're learning how to deal with fears. You're learning how to deal with, fans, supporters in your team, negatives in your team, naysayers, negative people, right? You're learning how to compete with focus and getting into the zone. There's so much that you'll be doing in this phase as well. These are 2 incredibly important phases, phase 2 and 3. Phase 1, do not neglect phase 1. You have to know where you are at, okay? Important. So that Successful Athlete Masterclass is perfect for that. Then we shift into phase 4. Notice we're doing it phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're into phase 4. Now you're playing as a pro, right? You've been selected into the team or you've made it, right? You're on the tour. And what you're doing in this phase is you're doing everything that encompasses playing and competing as a professional. So there's still going to be all that training. There's still going to be all that practice. There's still going to be that nutrition. There's still going to be that endurance and strength training and everything else that you've still got to be doing. You may be in a team. You may be playing as an individual, right? Competing. You may be starting to get more attention from people. You may be developing fans. There'll be a lot of travel. And then you've got to make sure that you're performing at that world-class level because you don't want to be dropped, do you? Right? And then you've got the emotions that are going to be surrounding everything that's going on around you. But you can handle this, right? Because you've been working on this and building towards this in phase 2 and 3. You're ready for it. But I want you to also understand in this phase, there'll always still be areas to continually work on. Even the top players in the world in their sport are still looking at staying at the top. They're still looking for edges because they know that they can get more out of themselves. And I did a few weeks ago. I did a 11. I can't remember the actual name of it, but I did a thing about Novak Djokovic. I think it was the 11 lessons that you could learn from Novak Djokovic, and I talked about when he won his the 8th Australian Open title in 2020. So if you're listening to this beyond 2020. In 2020 when I recorded this, as in this year, he won that. And I share his interview and then we look at the lessons that we learned from him. He's still doing it and he's number 1 in the world, right? So phase 4, you're playing as a pro. Now phase 5, I want you to be thinking of it this way, as in you Inc., as in you incorporated. You are a business. So you've made it as the pro, but now you've got to still be thinking of yourself as a business, because you'll be getting paid to play. You'll be getting endorsements and sponsorships. You'll be getting winning, money for winning, right? So you have to learn how to build yourself as a brand. You have to learn how to manage your wealth and grow your wealth, right? So this is an example for you to be thinking in phases. But you've got to go through phase 1 to get to 2, 2 to get to 3, 3 to get to 4, 4 to get to 5. And you'll find that probably some of the phases may intertwine a little bit, because the knowledge and the experience that you've gained, especially from phases 1, 2, and 3, is really going to help you move into and accomplishing those big goals in phase 4 and phase 5, right? Because you don't decide that just one day that you want to be a pro, and then the following year or the following week, the following month, that you're already going to be there, right? You're going to have to go through a process, and this is why I set these out in phases, because I want you to be thinking about it this way. So those are those examples, okay? And I want you to be looking at it that way, because mentally it's going to help you really understand that there's that process that you've got to go through. I know I'm saying it a lot about the process, but it is. I want you to mentally understand that there's a process that you're going to have to go through. But you may be thinking, so you might be thinking, all right, Tiff, what about a time frame? Is there a time frame that I actually need to be putting on this? Yeah, sure. Put a time frame on it, like each phase, right? How long is it going to take you to get through phase 1? How long is it going to take you to get through phase 2? And so on, right? That's good. And, you know, by having a timeline or a deadline, it's good, because we do work better to deadlines. We get more done when we've got a deadline. But I don't want you to get out there and you're mixed up in that time frame, and then you're like, oh well, I didn't accomplish phase 1 in 3 months. And I had that when I was writing my book. I actually wrote my book in 6 weeks. But to get it to what you see now as the finished product, of like a real life book, you know, that you can touch and hold and open and flip through the pages, it took me 15 months to get there. I wrote the book in 6 weeks. I had it in my head I was going to be able to do it in 3 months. And I didn't know the process that I had to go through to get there. I didn't know the phases that I was going to work through. I didn't know how long that was going to take. Wasn't me, right? If I had I had to do this with other people. I had to employ other people to help me get through each phase so I could get to the finished product. But I didn't know. But I kept going. I didn't stop, because now you see the finished product. It took me a lot longer than I thought, but it's still there. So the message here that I want you to understand is that if you don't accomplish your goal, but the thing is you just keep going. All you got to do is just keep going. Because you've got those phases in place, and you're like, right, great. I'm going to follow these phases. I'm going to go like in this direction. It may take you longer than what you anticipate. That's okay too. There's obviously more development and learning that you need to learn along the way. Okay? But it's going to help you mentally. So now it's up to you, isn't it? So if you want it, you can take it, because anyone can do it. You can do it. But I want you to start beginning to work on those five phases, okay? I'm tripping up with a lot of words today. Don't know why, but it is what it is. It's a bit messy today, this episode. But I want you to begin working on those 5 phases, okay? So before you start working on those 5 phases, remember, part of phase 1, what were you going to do? You're going to sign up for the Successful Athlete Masterclass, weren't you? Because phase 1 will be identifying where you currently are now, your current level. You'll be identifying what's holding you back. You'll be taking an inventory of your sports skills and your mental skills and what you'll need to get and have in place to get you to the level that you want to get to. And we'll be putting a plan in place to help you get there. So I want you to go to tiffanymica.com/Sam, S-A-M, and I look forward to seeing you there. Dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams.